My name is Margaret Hale. I am 68 years old, a retired school principal from Portland, Oregon, and for most of my life, I believed something very simple. A mother's job never ends. It doesn't end when your son turns 18. It doesn't end when he graduates college. It doesn't even end when he stands at an altar, promising another woman that she is now his family. You just adjust the way you love. You step back. You become the quiet safety net instead of the loud protector. Or at least, that's what I thought.
Ethan had always been inconsistent with communication. Even as a boy, he would disappear into his room with headphones on and forget the world existed. But he always came back. Always. 2 weeks without hearing his voice wasn't normal. His texts had grown short. Busy. Work's crazy. Talk later. I tried Lena. Lena used to send me pressed flowers every spring. She was a botanist. Gentle hands, soil under her fingernails, sunlight in her smile. She called me Mrs. Hale in that respectful way that made me feel both old and cherished. But this time there was no reply. No flower photos, no greenhouse updates, nothing. The silence felt wrong. Like a houseplant wilting quietly in the corner while everyone pretends not to notice. I didn't tell anyone I was worried. I've learned something after 40 years in education. When you say you're worried, people reassure you too quickly. Instead, I booked a flight.
They had given me a spare key years ago. For emergencies, Ethan had said casually. I don't think he expected I would ever actually use it. The moment I opened the apartment door, I knew something was terribly wrong. The air was thick, not just with smell, but neglect. Unwashed laundry lay in a heap near the hallway, takeout containers stacked beside the sink. Herb pots on the windowsill sagged lifelessly, leaves yellow and curled. Lena would never let her plants die. "Lena?" I called softly. No answer. I stepped further inside and saw her. She was curled on the couch beneath a thin gray blanket. Her lips were pale. Her breathing was shallow, strained. An empty inhaler lay loosely in her hand. Her eyes fluttered open when I touched her shoulder. "Mrs. Hale?" Her voice was barely a whisper. That was the moment fear stopped being abstract. "Margaret," I corrected gently. "We're going to the hospital."
The emergency room moved in controlled chaos. Oxygen mask, IV line, rapid assessment. Severe asthma attack compounded by pneumonia, a doctor explained. She's been struggling for days. Days? I repeated. Yes. Did she delay coming in? Lena closed her eyes. Hospital records would later show she had called Ethan 4 times the night she collapsed. He answered once. He told her he was out with clients. He hung up. I sat beside her hospital bed that first night, listening to the steady rhythm of the oxygen machine. I held her hand when she trembled. Ethan didn't come. He didn't call. By morning, I was no longer confused. I was cold.
Parents do foolish things when their children are teenagers. We install tracking apps, we monitor curfews, we tell ourselves it's temporary. Ethan never disabled the family location sharing. He had simply forgotten. At 11:43 p.m. the night Lena collapsed, he was at a brewery 20 miles away. At 1:18 a.m., he was at a casino 2 hours north. At 2:05 a.m., he posted a private story on social media. He had forgotten I followed his backup account. In the photo, he was laughing, bottle raised, arm around a blonde woman I didn't recognize. The timestamp matched the 3rd missed call from Lena. I did not cry. I felt something worse. Clarity. Parents do foolish things when their children are teenagers. We install tracking apps, we monitor curfews, we tell ourselves it's temporary. Ethan never disabled the family location sharing. He had simply forgotten. At 11:43 p.m. the night Lena collapsed, he was at a brewery 20 miles away. At 1:18 a.m., he was at a casino 2 hours north. At 2:05 a.m., he posted a private story on social media. He had forgotten I followed his backup account. In the photo, he was laughing, bottle raised, arm around a blonde woman I didn't recognize. The timestamp matched the 3rd missed call from Lena. I did not cry. I felt something worse. Clarity.
When Ethan and Lena were first married, they were young and broke. I co-signed their apartment lease to help them qualify. Ethan promised it was temporary. He never refinanced. The lease was still primarily in my name. At 7 a.m., I called the landlord. "I am terminating the lease effective immediately," I said. There was silence on the other end. "But your son—" "My son is not the primary leaseholder. Change the locks today. I'll cover the fees." "Your sir?" "Yes." That was the moment I stopped being the safety net.
Healing is not dramatic. It is slow. Breathing exercises, medication adjustments, follow-up appointments. I stayed with Lena in a temporary rental while the new lease paperwork processed. One evening, she asked quietly, "Did he fight it?" "Yes." "Did you doubt yourself?" I considered the question. "Yes," I admitted, "for 5 minutes." She laughed weakly. "Thank you," she said. That was the first time she called me Margaret. The truth comes out.
As Lena regained strength, the truth emerged in fragments. Ethan had been distant for months. Late nights, hidden expenses, excuses about client dinners. She had sensed something was wrong, but kept telling herself marriage required patience. The night of her collapse, she had felt her chest tightening and called him, terrified. "I thought he would come," she whispered. He didn't. Lena now works at a greenhouse downtown. Her asthma is controlled. Her laughter has returned. We garden together on weekends. She brings me seedlings. I teach her pruning techniques. She calls me Maggie now. It feels earned. Ethan, I hear, couch-surfed for months. His friends grew tired of the excuses. He now works night shifts at a warehouse. No more brewery photos. No more casino check-ins. He tried calling twice. I let it ring. Love does not require endless rescue. One evening, I received a handwritten letter from Ethan. He didn't ask for money. He didn't ask for housing. He wrote, "I didn't think you'd actually let me fall." I stared at that sentence for a long time. That was the problem. He never believed consequences applied to him, because I always caught him. I did not reply. Not yet. The garden. Last Sunday, Lena and I planted lavender. The soil was dark and forgiving. "Do you think he'll change?" she asked. "I hope so," I said honestly. "And if he doesn't? Then he'll learn anyway." She squeezed my hand. There is a difference between cruelty and boundaries. I did not throw my son away. I simply stopped carrying him. Sometimes love is fierce protection. Sometimes it is quiet refusal. And sometimes it is putting down the weight so someone else can finally stand.